Hello, welcome to this training. In this class, we are going to look at Python libraries. Python has a rich source of libraries that are used for different type of analysis in Python. We have libraries for data visualization, data manipulation, and so on and so forth. So one of the library that we want to consider first is called Pandas. Pandas is a powerful and feasible open source data manipulation and analysis library for Python. It provides data structures and functions needed to work with structured data. It is particularly well suited for handling tabular data, the attribute that is similar to SQL and other things like Excel spreadsheet. It is widely used in data science, machine learning, and other data-intensive fields. So to start using Pandas in a Jupyter notebook, you have to import it. What do you mean by importing Pandas? That is, you have to, when you install Python using an Anaconda distribution, it comes with most of the libraries. Like Pandas is installed as of the time of installing Python using the Anaconda distribution. So Pandas is already installed when you install your Python. So what you need to do is to import it and start using it. So to import Pandas, you write this code. You say import. Sorry, you come here. You say import Pandas as PD. Import Pandas as PD. So PD here is a conventional way of denoting Pandas. You can call it anything. You can say import Pandas as PF or import Pandas as PS. Whatever you may want to call it, you can call it. But saying PD is a kind of a conventional way, and it's for convenience, so that wherever you want to use Pandas in your code, you simply type PD instead of typing Pandas in full. That is the meaning. So if you open your Jupyter notebook and import Pandas, so throughout that Jupyter notebook, wherever you refer to, wherever you call PD, the Jupyter notebook will recognize that you are calling Pandas. So that is how you go about it. So you import Pandas as PD. So if we run this now, so Pandas is now imported into our Jupyter notebook, and we can start working with it. So after you have imported Pandas, the first thing to consider is to import data. Which data do you want to use? So to use data into the Pandas, if you have a particular data that you save in a CSV file or in Excel file, so the way of importing importing data into Pandas, you also use a word import. So import is a reserved word in Python. So you say import sorry, not import. Now you want to import data. So the way of importing data is that you assign a name to your data. Maybe you can call your data, call it data, simply call it data, and then you say it's equals to, now you say PD. So that Pandas that would be imported as PD, you now say PD dot read underscore CSV. If the data is in CSV format, you now say read underscore CSV. If it is in Excel, you say read underscore Excel. And so here now you say read underscore CSV. and then you open a bracket and then type the file location. So you specify the location where that particular data is saved in on your computer. Like now, I will if you cannot type it, you can just go to the data and copy the file location and come here and paste. So after you open a bracket like here, so I copy the part of my data, so I will paste it. I do Control V. So this is how my data is saved. So I close this. I close this, and I close it in double quote. I started with double quote, so I will close it with double quote. This R here at the beginning, this R, if you remove this R, if your data is saved, like my own, if you look at the file location of my data, it is saved with /. I have something like C/user/ this and that. So if you are using /, you have to put R here. But if you have saved your data using /, the /, then you don't need to put the R. But because the data is saved on my system using /, so I'll put the R, meaning I'm telling it to read the data. So if we run this, our data will be imported into the Pandas. So you hold the control key and enter. So we have imported the data. So to see the data that we have imported now, you can now say print. You now say print data dot head. Maybe you want to see, because maybe the data is large, so you may want to see only the first few rows of the data. So you say print data dot head, or instead of saying print, you can simply just say data. Let me remove the print. It's not necessary that you say print. You just say data. This data I'm calling is the name of the data. If you import your data with a different name, you use that name. So we say data dot head, and then put bracket like. So if you want the first 10 or the first 5 rows, you specify it, and then you hit enter. So this is a data. This data is called Irish dataset. So Irish dataset is a popular data on Kaggle. I think I told you about Kaggle. Kaggle is a kind of a database. It's a data source where you can get data. So one of the popular data on Kaggle that is used for data practice is called Irish data. So this data now, we have it has a sepal length, the sepal width, the petal length, and the petal width. That is, you're talking about a species of flowers. So the petals are the petal is there are some these flowers. You have you have petal, you have sepal, and so on. So what is the length of each petal? What is the width? What is the length of the sepal, and what is the width of, and what is the species? The data has some species. So you have species like Iris satosa, you have Irish virginica, and so on. So you now import this data. So this is how you can view your first row of the data. If you want to see the last columns, you can say data dot and then specify. If you do not specify, it will give you the first 5. But if you specify, maybe you want to see the last 10 rows, so you say data dot. So if we run this, it will now give us the last values of it. So this data now has about 150 data values. So it starts from position 0. So you have from 149 here, 148. This is the last value in the data. So that is how you can import your data using Pandas. So you say First of all, you import your pandas as PD, and then you say you give a name to your data and call it pd.read underscore, and then you specify the path where that data is saved on your system. Like me, this is the location where it was saved. If you do not remember, you just go back to that data. You go and open that data in a CSV file or in Excel where it is saved, and then you copy the parts of the data and come and press here in this bracket, and then you will see it. So after you have view your data, you can begin to run some data cleaning. There is what is called data cleaning, and so on. Okay, and before that, suppose that we have let's also import using Excel file, the data that is saved in Excel format. So the sales data that we have been using, let us import it now. Let us import the data and see what it will give us. So I go so now let's import the data and call it, let me press it like this. So you say sales data, is equals to pd.read underscore c. Okay, now we are importing Excel. So you say read underscore Excel, and then you open a bracket, put R here, and then put a double quote. Then you press the part of the data in the quote, in this double quote. So I will go to where my data is saved, where I saved my data in Excel file, and then import the data. So here now, so I will press the part of my data in the bracket here, do Ctrl V. So I save this data in this location. So if I run it now, before I run it, let me call it. You can now say sales data dot head. So if you run it, it has returned error. Let me look at the error. What is the error here? It says a save file format cannot be determined. You must specify an engine manually. Okay. Okay. The mistake is that this particular data is not an Excel. It's not saying in Excel format. It's saying in CSV. So I will delete it. Let me press another file that is saved in Excel format. So I will press this one. This one now is saved in .xlsx. This is Excel file. So if we run this one now, we should be able to see it. So this one is not it's e-commerce, so I'll leave it as sales data also, or I can just give it a new name. Let me call this one DF. You can call your data any name. So I say this, I call it simply as DF. If I say this one as data, it will now override the first data that I imported before. So if we give a name to a data and then later on you give that same name to another data, the recent one will override the previous one. So if you want to keep your data distinct, you have to give them distinct name. So if I say df.head now, it has given us the data. So this is a data now. We have product ID, product name, the category, the cost price, the selling price. So this is a particular data that we have. You can also view the instead of viewing the first, you can look at the last columns, rather the last rows, by saying df.head.tail. So if we run it, it will give us the last data value. This data has about 100 data values starting from 0, so you have position 99 here. So we have it like this. So when you import your data in you can begin to do some analysis, which I will not go into that yet. Let me show you how to generate data using PDF. You can generate random data using PDF. So for your practice now, suppose that you want to run some tests, you want to run some analysis, and you are running short of data, you can generate some data. You can generate synthetic data that will help you to do some analysis before you look for a real data set to do real project. So now to create data in Excel, in Python rather, to generate data in Python, you will import what is called random. We have already imported Pandas as PD. But suppose that you have not imported it before, you have to import the two of them. So let me give, this is a new heading I should give. Let me give it as a heading so that when we are reading, we'll be following. So our new heading now is that generating data using Pandas. Let's change this to Markdown so that you can see it clearly. So generating data using Pandas. So we have to first of all import. We already imported Pandas, but let me still say it. Import Pandas as PD, and then you say import random. So this random now is used to generate random numbers. You randomly generate numbers that you specify. So you say import random. Then you now define some category of data that you want. You can now say category. Maybe you can say that category, or you can say product category or product type. Product category, let's call it like this. Product category is equals to, and now you now say, let's say you have furnitures. You have furnitures, comma, you have electronics. You have electronics, comma, maybe you have clothing. and so on. So that is the category of products that you have, that you want to generate data on them. And then you now, after defining the category of product that you have, you now create a subcategory. So under electronics, what are the subcategory of product do you have under electronics, and what are the subcategory of products do you have under furniture and clothing? So under electronics now, let's define some category of products. So we can say subcategory. Let's call it subcat in short form like this. Subcategory of products we have equals to. Now this one I will open a curly bracket because this a dictionary that you are creating. So we under furnitures we have beds, we have let's put it in plural, have beds, we have chairs, I have to put them in quotes. Then after chairs you have tables, after tables you have what again? Maybe wardrobe. Because of time, let me copy the what I already have before, so that I will just paste it. So we define a category and subcategory of products that we have. So I will paste this here. So we have categories. We have electronics, clothing, and furniture. Then under subcategory, under electronics, we have phones, we have laptops, we have camera, and so on. Then we have clothing. We have shirts, shoes, jackets, and these are the various products that we have. So now that we have defined those products, now we can generate data using the category that we define. So we say that for we define data like this. So you define data to be equals to, and then you open it. So this is what will be in the data. So you say for in the range of 1000, that is, you are creating 1000 rows of data. So in the range, if you want it to be 100, this one now is specifying the number of rows that should be generated. So you have category is equal to random dot choice. This random that we define, that we imported here. So you say random dot choice category. That you should choose randomly in the categories that we have defined here. And then under subcategory, you also have random dot choice. This subcategory now is generating from the category, and then you have unit price. The unit price should be also round into random.uniform, and you specify the price between 100,000 and 1 million. That is a unit, that is random price that you are setting for the product that you have. Then total sales is equal to random dot rand in integer. Rand int here means random integers. That is the unit number of sales. You should choose randomly from 1 to 100. And then profit should be total sales times the unit price. And this should also be randomly, uniformly randomly generated. So with this now, if you run this, you will generate your data. You can now put this data into a data frame. You can make you create it to be in a data frame. So you now say right now you say you create a data frame and call it, before we define a data here now we call it data. So here now we create a data frame and call it df. So df now is going to be pdf.dataframe. I think I explained what data frame is before at the beginning of the video. So you are creating this from the data that was defined here, and then this should be the columns in the data. So you have category, subcategory, unit. So those items that we define them here, you now put them in a data form so that it can be saved in a CSV file or in Excel format. So we can run this now and see. Let's run it. Control Enter. So this, we have created this data. It has returned successfully without giving us error. So the next thing we can do is to save this data that we have created in Excel. Or before we save it into Excel, let's display it and see. Let's say print df.head to see how the data is displayed before we can save it in Excel. You can now say print df.head. So this is the data. So we have category, we have subcategory, we have unit price, total sales, and then the profit. So here now furniture, we have under subcategory we have a chair, and the unit price for the chair is 179,789, and the total sale was 1. Then we have under electronics we have television. So we have unit price for television, and then you have total sales, and then you have the profit. So now that we have seen what our data looks like, we can now save it in a CSV. So you can give it a name. You can say to CSV, to underscore CSV. So df.to.csv, then you give it a name. Maybe you can call it, that is the name that should be saved in your files. You can call it sales sales data or product data. Let me call it like product data. Then you set index to be false. Index equals, and then you have to put it data dot CSV, and then you say comma index equals to false. Index equals to false. Like here now, when we printed the data here, we can see the index here starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. But if we set index to be false, it will not save this column that is giving us the number index. So if we close this, you close the bracket like this, and then if we run, let's say, you can now say df. No, you now run it. It has given us error. Let me look at the error. Name false is not defined. Okay, the false has to be capital letter F. You can run it. So it is now saved. So if we go to your, like me now, if I go to my file location, I'll be able to see a data core product. I will see a file in my document that will be named product, and the file type will be CSV. So I'm going to end this video here. We're going to continue with pandas in the next video. I don't want to make the video too long. I will make a second one after this. Thank you.